Acharya Niti. Human history is replete with the occurrence of bloody wars, how they were fought, and see dots of what happened during them. It is often said that the end of one world is the beginning of another, and that the cycle never ends. But master strategy Chanakya was well known for putting a final end to wars. Acharya Katha. The first and the easiest way of ending a war is suggested by Chanakya was inner dining. Food is a very basic human requirement. Different cultures have different food habits. Inviting someone to eat with you or being invited to dine with them is considered a form of respect. One of the easiest ways of moving from enmity to friendship is by taking it out over a earthly meal. That's what you do. When discussions happen over food, the atmosphere is relaxed and comfortable. The aroma of the food, the many dishes, and the way they are served make a huge difference to one's mood. Often, important business deals, agreements, and treaties are signed over events where food is a major component as it boosts morale. Chanakya's second strategy was intermarriage. A strategy he had applied to Chandragupta. Most historians even say that Chandragupta's kingship was a mean to achieve an aim. Alexander's defeated army was on its way back home, but some of Alexander's more reliable generals had been left behind to look after conquered territories. One of them was the mighty Seleucus. Though morale in his camp was low owing to the death of his king, Seleucus was a commendable leader. He had the potential and the army to fulfill Alexander's dream and conquer India. Chanakya was aware of this. He knew as soon as Seleucus was given the opportunity, he would prove disastrous to the nation. So he worked out a plan, and the time he had come to disclose it to Chandragupta, he called Chandragupta to his chamber and said, "Sometimes it is important to take strategic decisions for larger benefits." Chandragupta was little confused about what his teacher wanted to say. In response, Chanakya said, "And sometimes, while making a plan, we need to become part of the plan." "Yes, Acharya," said Chandragupta, still wondering what Chanakya was referring to. "But I don't understand what you want me to do." Unperturbed. What is this?
Unperturbed.
Chanakya continued, "I want you to get married. Normally, marriage is cause for celebration, but coming as an instruction from Chanakya, it is unsettled Chandragupta. I have found a good alliance for you. I want to marry Seleucus' daughter." "The enemy's daughter? What are you suggesting, Acharya?" Chandragupta was shocked, but he had forgotten he was facing a master strategist. "Her name is Helen, and you are to enter into an alliance of marriage with her." "Acharya, this is very strange. Why do I have to marry her. We can just enslave her. Chandragupta thought he had impressed the master with his argument. While a smile, Chanakya said, "This is why I still think you have much left to learn." Chandragupta bowed his head, waiting for what his guru would say.
I'm in the meeting.
She is a princess and almost ready to be a queen. You will underutilize her intelligence by making her a slave, and more importantly, even your enemy should be shown some respect. Remember, never underestimate the enemy. Chandragupta wanted to shout, "Yes, exactly, Acharya. My enemy can destroy me just as easily in my own bedroom. And by inviting them into our kingdom, we will be giving them complete access to all our secrets. This can completely backfire." But Chandragupta could say nothing before a teacher who had always been proven right. "Yes, Acharya, I am ready." Chandragupta realized Chandragupta was not at all convinced with their discussion. He required more persuasion. This is the need of the nation. Who the king marries has an impact on every one of us and our future generations. It will impact both nations, ours and Alexander's. Though Chandragupta was cynical about the marriage proposal, when he saw Helen, he was smitten. Chandragupta saw the wonder in his eyes and said, "She is both beauty and brains." This strategically arranged marriage was happily accepted by everyone, including Seleucus and Helene. They knew that women were given due respect in Indian culture, and Helen had no need to fear. This marriage was one of the most successful political alliances. It benefited even future generations, and since then the Greeks and Indians have shared a harmonious relationship. The era that followed was golden era in Indian history, and Chanakya had been instrumental in creating it. Indeed, everyone got their happy ending.
Pretty smart.
Insights. A marriage is an important decision for the individuals as well as their families. It is not just the coming together of two individuals, but also of two cultures. Respect women and their intelligence. It will also benefit you in the long run. The greatest risk is trying to play safe. Chanakya had to risk Chandragupta's well-being to welcome Helen into the family permanently, but the risk had turned out to be very profitable. Well, I can meditate about this example of Chanakya Pandit. In one way or another, Srila Prabhupada, my beloved Guru Deva, he also used this energy of marriage to strengthen his movement. He could understand that young people are very lusty and very easily to go away for a marital relationship. So when he had good daughters and good sons, he would get them married and open the temple. The best example was Canada. Both Vancouver, Toronto, and Quebec, and Montreal, they all had Vyasa temple presidents who stayed firmly in their position, building up wonderful yatras and in many, many other places too. In our Vinda Parivar, we have had many, many wonderful relationships between Chile and Colombia, between Peru and Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, by marriage of devotees. That has been also something which really has connected us, committed to work for everybody's benefit. Of course, marriage is a difficult thing, and some people say interracial marriages are not so recommendable and so on and so on. But we have to leave it up to Krishna, because in the end of the day, finding a right marital partner is something like finding a great spiritual guide, because the husband is to be the guru of the wife, and the wife is supposed to save the husband. So in both directions, they are interdependent. So I can see from this story, which is from Chanakya Pandit, that of course it was always considered to be a very important commitment to get married. And Srila Prabhupada, he utilized anything and everything. He also started schools, gurukulas. He also initiated sannyasis and sent them left and right in his mission. He wanted a Daivik Vana Ashram community where people live in communities, make money in an honest way, and in this way propagate the Krishna conscious movement. You could say that the Krishna conscious movement has become this in one way or another. May it be the community Nalachwa, where so many devotees live together, also got married, have jobs, and then go out and spread again Krishna consciousness. You know, all in all, Prabhupada's, I wouldn't know how many marriages took place in Srila Prabhupada's movement. I know in Vrinda Parivar's fold, close to 1,000 marriages have taken place. So what to speak of Srila Prabhupada's? So we thank very much Srila Prabhupada for giving us this vision and dimension that we are a big family, because Guru and disciple is also a family. So you cannot avoid it. You have to be part of a family. You have to dedicate yourself to the welfare of your family. And in a family, of course, the father, mother, the children, they have to be very committed to each other's welfare. So now, what do you have to say about that, Rajan? What's your commentary? You are a practical man also.
It's very interesting that in Catholic religion, if you want to practice priesthood, then the celibacy is the only way. But amongst the Protestants, no monk orders. Only the priest will be only Grihastha, at least in Europe. So I like very much that we can practice our priesthood, our missionary activities as a sannyasis or grihasthas. And I've been always feeling that grihastha ashram is so beneficial. It's really recommendable for young people. And I like very much this story. The first suggestion of Chanakya, if you want to make peace, then invite the enemy for lunch, right? And that's what he said. And
not only enemy, means to whom we want to build a relation, we have to invite.
And that's, I think in every culture it's a custom. If a guest comes to your house, of course we will offer something to him. And I mean, if I were Chandragupta, I would argue much more against getting married with the daughter of the enemy. I mean, it's too much to sacrifice ourselves. You know, who knows the outcome? That nobody could be sure about the outcome of it. And so that means sometimes a politician is able to think on political way, means calculating the benefits. It's, for me, it's very strange. It's like risking the other's life. It's like gambling their life. And it's very interesting that it worked out. So, but definitely, the one who is a Brahmana, probably he will not. It wouldn't be appropriate for him to speculate, because he's always telling the truth, believing in the truth. I don't know.
It is true that there's a great relationship between India and Greece. There is the column which was found in South India.
Heliodorus column.
Heliodorus column.
Near Bhopal.
So
I've seen it.
So it is.
Where is it near? Sorry?
Near Bhopal. It's Bhimbetka. You know Bhimbetka?
Near Bhopal?
Near Bhopal, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, not so far from Bhopal.
In
So-
Madhya Pradesh.
Huh?
In Madhya Pradesh.
Madhya Pradesh. Indian government is putting together scientists from different parts of the world to study the real reason why that Bhopal accident happened. Because it was made by DuPont.
Made by?
DuPont was in charge of that. And DuPont is the one that just hit Maui and burnt the Indians and everything. So they, in a tricky way, they're trying to...
It was manually made.
Huh?
It was manually made.
It's a huge, DuPont is
Yes.
huge. And it was a huge...
We are sidetracking from our issue.
yeah. But Chanakya Pandit, okay, Chanakya Pandit, back to him. I like how he took all the thieves and murderers and everything, he made an army out of them. You know that? Yeah, in his trying to take all the bad things out of India and save India, he went and he begged thieves and criminals and murderers, and he made a whole army out of them. And in a certain battle, they helped him out. So it was like unique. But this same process happened right here in Rajasthan. When the Mongols were coming in and attacking, the Vaishnavas and the Devi family of Kshatriyas were working separately. And they were being overtaken. So then one of the kings, one of the Vaishnava kings, he went to his daughters and he said, "Oh, please, you marry into this family." And the older daughter, she said, "No, better I take poison than marry into that family." So he said, because then the next daughter could marry into the family. So then he asked the next daughter, and she says, "No problem." That was Mirabai. And then he took Mirabai and married her into that family of Devis. You know, but, you know, Mirabai was just spiritual all the time. But that's also a time where they united two families so they could hold out the Mongols and save ground.
Maharaj, what is your comment?
Well, I cannot give a commentary because I am failing when rehearse the life. How can I give commentary on this?
By having experienced the failure, you can probably give twice commentary.
Look, Raj, I was there when Prabhupada switched over and said, everybody get married. And in New York Temple, we pulled up with the Brahmachari bus, you know. I was in charge of a Brahmachari bus with about...
Radha Damodar.
Yeah, no, the Radha Damodar had their bus. I had my bus. Mr. Sims, Aviram, he gave me a bus. So then I came up with the bus near the New York Temple, and Chittiraj comes running out of the temple with his bag. And I said, "Where are you going, Chittiraj?" He says, "They're going to get me married tomorrow if I don't go." that's how heavy it was. They were just saying, "Okay, you marry him, and he marries you, and this, and Almost all over the place it was like that. But Prabhupada says that the brahmacharis I see, they just pick up their bag and leave. So I can't have confidence in them. So I have to have something to tie them down. So that's how he.
And how it happened? Prabhupada announced marriage from tomorrow, and then
No. Prabhupada didn't say individually and everything, but he started that mood,
Okay.
and then they took off on it.
they took it very seriously, fanatically.
Yeah.
Yes, immediate.
Oh, immediately. My wife, she was first married to someone, and she didn't really want to get married. And they said, you can't go against the temple president because the temple president is like the guru, and you have to follow his instructions. So she was no girl.
So her marriage was arranged by the temple president.
Yeah. My life was a mess. No, we tried to follow Prabhupada. And even if we did mistakes, those mistakes in history are seva. That's our seva. Just like they're trying to change the books. Why change the books if it's seva that they were made with? Tomorrow they're having that court case. So seeing if they're going to allow other people to print books of Prabhupada and keep the originals. You know that.
Tomorrow is a court case where?
In Mayapur. Yeah.
There
They're
is no court case.
yeah, they're trying to.
There is no court in Mayapur.
No, well, you know how the ISKCON people are arranging it, and they're seeing how to take the original books out of people. You know, Hamsaduta was a trustee, so he had the books, and he was all right to print them. And he,
It's already decided by the court that people can print Prabhupada's original books.
well, they're doing it again. They sent out a message and everything.
Yes.
So,
I haven't heard about it.
oh really? I can send you the message.
So,
Yeah, and but if there's a typo mistake, that was a devotee who didn't know the language so nice, and the typo mistake is seva, and the person put his heart into serving Prabhupada.
well, I just heard a lecture of Prabhupada. In the lecture, Pradyumna was reading from Prabhupada's books, and he came across a word which was not perfectly spelled. So he gave the suggestion of what was the right word there.
Yeah.
And then he came to the second one, and then Prabhupada said, do you take notes to keep those changes and make those changes? Prabhupada told to Pradyumna, no? Do you keep note of that? Because Prabhupada didn't want any mistakes in his book.
Yeah, of course he
And
did.
there may have been some mistakes, so if the changing of the books means to correct the mistakes, Prabhupada would definitely be in
Yeah.
because I heard it with his own voice. Anyhow, this is a long story, it's not our problem. Somebody else can solve it. So the next person, so Maharaj, do you want to say something despite?
I don't know. I'm really failure.
You're not a failure, you have two beautiful children. And karma is coming in unlimited ways we cannot conceive of. So many mental illness is there and everything. You are an example of how a father, despite all difficulties, will remain to be a good father even if things are really gets tough. There's a saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And from my observation, I would say, yes, you have done a great job as a father. Of course, because maybe for some reason Krishna took away your wife and you're not terribly attached to a woman,
Yeah.
then for that reason you could take sannyas with a little bit of energy left in the body,
Yes.
because we really needed a powerful preacher
Krishna said.
in our Vishwa Vaishnava Rajshava. It's also absolutely so. Yudhishthira is another very successful grihastha. He has many children. He works together.
Many?
Yes. And he works together with all his children are working in his company. His wife is also a devotee. She's also part of the company. So they're very interesting, but his English is not good enough to talk.
Someone can translate.
That's
Someone-
It is
make,
only-
it makes the recording confusing. So I think we had enough on the story. It's enough for one night.
Oh, so nice.
Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Shama Ki Jai.
Yeah.
You can stop it. See.